2-3 is definitely not where Miami wanted to be at this point, but they've got a bye week. It's time to rest, recoup, refocus, re-energize, and get ready for the stretch drive in the ACC Coastal. We got the wholesome one on the line, of course, for our Miami live show here each and every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, where we talk Canes with all of you. Please leave those comments and questions in the live chat, and we will get to it. Wholesome one, how are you?
Doing all right, Mark. I'm doing all right. Personally, we're here, we're alive, blessed to be here. And at the end of the day, when it comes to the Canes, we got some things we need to get in order, and we'll get to that today.
Seems like that Virginia game was a long time ago because it was played on a Thursday. We all saw it transpire. Manny Diaz made it a point a number of times to emphasize the fourth quarter performance, but not necessarily the first three quarters performance. So they got down by a couple scores in the fourth quarter, fought their way back, were in the midst of a game-winning drive at the end of the game. And that's always a call that the coach needs to make in that situation. You're down by less than a field goal, and you're running the ball at will. Do you continue to do so and just drive that ball into the end zone and put it away, or do you set it up and trust your kicker to deliver? So what were your thoughts as all that was transpiring and the clock was winding down?
Well, as I'm watching the game, I first off, I saw a Manny Diaz special. What that means is a team that shows up unprepared, seems a little lackadaisical for the first couple of drives. We had 4 straight 3-and-outs, Mark. I mean, yes, I understand we're breaking in a new QB, but at the same time, we have to understand that Tyler Van Dyke took the first team reps this spring, while our starting QB at the time, De'Aaron King, was out with injury. So him and Jake Garcia were taking first and second team reps back-to-back all spring. They also took first and second team reps a little bit early on in camp when De'Aaron King wasn't ready, and then he popped in and he went from there. But it felt as though we were holding him back because we were making him do checkdowns and run the ball and things of that nature, as opposed to going at this Virginia defense, which was statistically the worst defense in all of the ACC, which we see is a little bit kind of up and down depending on which game you watch, because there's some times where teams believed to be big time and up there have played down to the level, or the teams low have played up to the level of the big time schools in the ACC. And Miami hasn't been one of them in a little bit. But when you watch this game, it was a cosmopolitan of what we've seen under Manny Diaz and under this Blake James-led regime, man. It's ridiculous, Mark. Week in and week out, they show up unprepared. Some seem like they don't want to be there. Defensively, the way we're tackling is almost historically bad. Okay, we're averaging 19 missed tackles a game, which is not stopping. There was some that upwards of 30 to 33 missed tackles in a game. Okay, and offensively, they're not having the back of the defense, and it's just all bad, Mark. It's all bad. Now, are there things that you could turn around and say, hey, that's good? Leonard Taylor making some plays, James Williams flashing and making some plays. But if we go to the first one with Leonard Taylor, that's a young man that this staff tried to tell the fan base isn't ready. The minute we put pressure on him to start playing him, the minute everyone starts asking, where's Leonard Taylor, the man gets in the game and start making plays. So someone's not telling the truth here. And that's where we perceive that Coach Diaz and his staff are just trying to buy time. They don't want to talk about freshmen because they want to continue to talk about the older guys because that's who they want to keep playing, when it's obvious that the freshmen are better than the older guys. It's that simple. We had the same problem at wide receiver last year. And we turn around this year, and yes, it was Coastal Central Connecticut State, but at the same time, you saw that once these youngsters got in the game, it was just a different click. because the older guys are starting that game and they didn't have that kind of explosion to them. Then we get to this Virginia game. And it was a really hard one to review, Mark, because you continuously saw so many opportunities for Miami to take this game by the throat and just go. Just win this game. And then when our head coach continues to lie, which a lot of coaches lie to the media, we get that. That happens. But you come on there and you say you're playing for the touchdown, but you call 4 dives up the middle, but we're playing for the touchdown. Now, Mark, it would be different if he would have taken one shot down the field early on that same drive. Let's say on first or second down, they did a play action and tried to hit tight end. Hopefully it's Elijah Arroyo, because Will Mallory doesn't know how to play football anymore. Maybe they throw a big fade route out to a Rambo or something like that, but no. Cam Harris up the gut, up the gut, up the gut, up the gut. And then another thing, Mark, I asked him and I said, can someone please tell me, does Manny Diaz know his players? So some people in the chat are like, well, Holson, what are you going on about? I said, okay, I'll explain what I mean. Our kicker, Andy Borregales. He's a freshman, true freshman. Okay, not a super freshman, true freshman. Fresh out of high school. All of his kicks this year, they drift to the left slightly. All of them. Make or miss. But let's pay attention to the misses. You go to Michigan State, he had a chip shot field goal. Shaped it to the left. Okay. The App State game, he almost missed the game winner, and it was just inside of that upright, but it was drifting to the left. So why would you put the ball in the middle of the field? If you knew your player, you would know, hey, if we keep running this, don't cut back. Just make sure you stay on the right-hand side. We want to get it as close to the right hash. If not, put it on the right hash so that when he does kick it and it drifts over to the left, guess what? It's going to go right down the middle. But no, he puts it center forward. The young man misses the field goal and shakes it. I, for one, don't want to put that kind of pressure on a freshman. I don't believe that it makes sense to do that, especially when you have all the momentum, especially when you are firing up. I mean, the way that Tyler Van Dyke broke on his 30-yard run and finishes in the end zone. I mean, it was all this momentum. Cam Harris got us in big field goal range. We're breaking some tackles and getting into it. I mean, everyone was feeling the energy. And Mark, I used to feel as though, well, these players aren't quitting on Manny and they keep fighting. It's not about that. It's about they have pride for themselves at this point. And you see the talent, you see the flashes, you see the ability. We have to get better leadership in our athletic department so that we can hire the proper coach. And I will go on and continue to say, as much as I would love Mario Diaz, I keep saying that, Mario Cristobal. And I think Mario Cristobal is the answer. Don't just gift this on a bowl to Mario Cristobal. Hire an athletic director who's going to interview the right people. Even if it's a short list of 4 or 5 people, interview everyone. Let's cross-examine their plans. And let's talk about what we would like to add from even other people. And then say, hey, coach, did you ever think about adding this to your plan? I think that would be really cool. We heard that in a different interview from insert name here, coach from so-and-so, who came in. And we really love that plan, and we would like to bring it here to Miami. We need a different level of direction because what we're doing right now is not working. It's year 3, and we do not see the growth in the program. We see flashes of talent. We see older players who have regressed, and we see schemes that continuously get out coached and out schemed week in and week out, and not much growth.
So before we continue on the track of the program and the steps that need to be taken next, I'd like to just go back to the final drive.
Okay.
So there are three ways to play this, in my opinion. Three general ways to play it. Either you run your offense. You just run your offense, and we're calling the best play. We're just going to continue to drive the ball down the field like we would in a normal situation, and our playbook's wide open. Or there is the tack that you take, okay, we're going to continue, we're going to kind of shut it down to a certain extent. We're not going to risk throwing the ball. We're going to run the ball. And if our backs break tackles and run it into the end zone, so be it. We scored a touchdown and we give them the ball back with whatever time's left on the clock, but I'm not going to shut down the offense. But we're going to play it conservative because it's less likely that you turn over the ball on a fumble than an interception, especially with a freshman quarterback. Or
the condensed field too. I mean, you're in the red zone.
Yeah, sure. And then number three option is generally what they decided to do once Cam Harris broke through for the 22-yard run to take it down to the 14-yard line with 2:05 left in the game, is to just basically tell your team, we're not scoring, line the ball up in the middle of the field for the kicker to hit the game-winning field goal. Okay. Seems like most people want to be aggressive, and that's easy sitting on your couch at home to say, let's be aggressive and let's try to score. Because the one advantage to kicking the field goal, as long as so the one thing that you're weighing is what is the risk of our kicker missing a kick or there being a bad snap or a bad hold, but basically the kicker most likely missing the kick. What's the risk there versus the risk of us fumbling the ball before we score the touchdown? But it also has to be taken into consideration that if you're going to shut down the offense, then you've got complete control of the clock. You can run it right down to 3 seconds, kick the game-winning field goal, completely take the game out of Virginia's offense's hands. Whereas if you're running your offense, you can't be aggressive and be conservative at the same time and say, well, score with 10 seconds left. You're either going to score whenever you score, and that could be with a minute left, 42 seconds, a minute 12, whatever it is. And if you score the touchdown, you force Virginia to score a touchdown, but you give them the ball with quite a bit of time left. As it appears here, once Cam Harris broke it off for 22 yards to the Virginia 14 for a first down, there was 2:05 left on the clock. So if they would have continued to run their offense and been successful, most likely they were going to score, but they're going to give the ball back to Virginia with 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a difficult call. It's almost like the Sunday night game. I don't know if you saw the end of the Buccaneers-Patriots game. Bill Belichick.
I saw a little bit of it. I actually drove from here to over to Minneapolis to watch the Browns and Vikings game.
Oh, okay.
So, but that was at noon. So we spent a lot of time on the road coming back. That's a 3.5 hour drive. So it's not the easiest drive, Mark.
Yeah, it's a similar situation where Belichick had the decision, do I go for the 56-yard game-winning field goal? Well, most likely game-winning field goal. There was still like 50 seconds left in the game, or do I go for it 4th and 3, continue the drive? It was almost kind of a reverse situation because if you kick the field goal, you give the ball back to Brady to complete the drive and possibly win it on their side, or you go for it on 4th and 3, keep the ball and continue it down the field. So coaches are in place and paid a lot of money to make difficult decisions. Talking Miami football, we get the wholesome one here for the next 45 minutes or so right here, the voice of college football. We would ask that you would please like the video, share the videos out on social media, get people in here talking college football, talking Canes with us each and every Tuesday at 1:15 Eastern time. We'll call it that, 1:15 Eastern time every Tuesday. And all of you are welcome to join us. And again, leave your questions and comments here in the live chat as we move forward with the conversation. We've got JT Sounds. What's up, Mark and H1? A question: what do you think of all the dropped passes this season? Mallory has 4, Harley has 3. I thought we got past the drops. So players aren't perfect. There are going to be dropped passes, regardless of how good your wide receiver core is, how sure-handed they are, whatever that number is for the best receiver core in the nation in terms of dropped passes, they're dropping some. So there's a couple that can be tolerated per game. I don't know what that number is. I'd have to look at the entire nation and say, okay, what are the better teams doing at the wide receiver position? But I got to think, if you're throwing, the typical team throws 30 or 35 passes a game and you're completing or are on the target 65 to 70% of the time, that your receiver should be catching all of those, but maybe 2, maybe 3 drops you could tolerate at the most per game. Something like that, wholesome one.
Whew. I don't even know. I tell you what, Mark, the biggest thing about for us Miami Hurricanes fans is the dropsies have been a big issue. And it doesn't seem to have gone anywhere. Okay. But that's where I continue to speak on the leadership, Mark, because at the end of the day, if we had the same problem with the older players, now we're starting to have some of the same problems with younger players. This is why I don't understand when people want to get on the prospects. They don't want to get on the players. They want to go after the players and they want to. Why are we always attacking and firing coaches every 3 years, which is not true, first of all. Mark, I don't even know where that argument has come from, because almost all of the last Miami Hurricanes coaches have had 4 years, except for Mark Richt, who retired because the game had passed him by. Okay, Randy Shannon, 4 years. Al Foden was in his 5th year and got fired in the middle of the season. Then after that, we went to Richt. And after that, we went to Manny Diaz. So we don't fire coaches every 3 years. Let's please stop putting that out there, because that's not true. And yes, I understand you want to give them time to bring in their players, but you have to continuously remind yourself that when it comes to Coach Diaz and this current regime, he's been here for 6 years. He was here 3 years before that as a defensive coordinator. So he knows every single young man on this roster, whether he directly recruited them, whether they were in his region and they may have even just played offense, because we regionally recruit, okay? Or if he directly signed them as the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes. Every single prospect on this team, every single player on this team, he had something to do with their recruitment in some shape, form, or fashion. These are his players, okay? Maybe the first year you could argue, oh, he got to get rid of Rick guys. No problem. The second year, he filled our market with a whole bunch of transfers to kind of fill some of those holes. And it worked out for us to a certain extent. I understand that. Now, year 3, since things are not working, now you want to lean on the fact that we're firing coaches every 3 years. Okay. Or you want to lean on the fact that he's young. It's only his 3rd year. We got to give him time. We're overreacting. Oh, Nick Saban lost to UL Monroe. Ed Orgeron lost to Troy. Come on, dude. Let's please not do that. It makes no sense to use those other. Dabo Sweeney in his 3rd year was 5-7. Let's not use those as an excuse. What we have to do is modernize our way of thinking. Just modernize our way of thinking. In today's life, in today's college football, you have to get things done right now. Now, there are other coaches who in year 2 or year 3 has a lesser talented team prepared, ready to play ball, and winning games. One of them we played in Michigan State, where they have over 40 other players that weren't on their COVID season roster. 40 new ones. Okay. Then you also turn around and you look at a team like Cincinnati, where their recruiting classes were, I believe it goes 71st, 44th, 45th, and 60th. And they're the fifth team in the country right now. Here's what I'm saying. I want people to understand this. There's no way in the world for people to twist this and think that we are attacking Manny Diaz the person, or we are attacking Blake James the person. But let me just explain something to you. When you have a job to get done, all right, you have to get that done. It just doesn't make any sense. You can't have a restaurant that has, you magically have, you got a 5-star chef in your kitchen. Why does your food taste like crap? You have 5-star rating as far as service on Yelp or Google, things of that nature. But when I come here, the service is crap. Who's the manager? Who's the owner? Who's running this right now? And this is why I'm saying we need to change the leadership ahead of Coach Diaz. Coach Diaz may go on and have a solid job somewhere else and do very, very well for himself. Maybe. Okay. And some grad assistant may not, when I come on and I speak about these things, who's this guy? He thinks he knows more about Miami than the guy who's coaching the team. Take that as it is. All I'm saying here is we need to go and grab an athletic director who understands this job, has the ability to take on this job, wants to lean into the fact that I need to be able to rebuild this up from nothingness. Okay. And not only is it, of course, we want to focus on football because that's what I like. That's what we are here to speak about. Okay. But not only that, how are we going to be able to fund this? Okay. How do we work money? And the reason why a lot of us want to get Alonzo Highsmith is because when Alonzo Highsmith was working in the NFL, yes, it was head of player personnel, but he also worked with the funding. He was the middleman in between the player and the agent and the GM, the right-hand man to the GM at two organizations, the Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns. His job was to be able to help in the funding as far as before they get to the GM and he wants to sign them to this contract. So he spent years speaking with agents, going over funding. What are you worth and things of that nature? What are you bringing to the table? So if you bring that kind of mindset into the athletic director department, I believe it's a great transition as far as handling finances, Mark. He's going to be able to say, hey, we don't have the money for this. We can get the money for this. We can set up a gala for this, a fundraiser here. I remember, I know this guy when I was at Green Bay, huge Miami fan. I would love to reach out to him and see if he would be willing to help. Okay, not only that, but he has the connections at the NFL level to be able to bring some assistant coaches here to Miami. Again, at two separate organizations. So that's why I feel as though Alonzo Highsmith would be my number one. But he's also similar to Mario Cristobal as my number one. Yes, he is my answer, but there are multiple good answers, Mark. So it's not just saying that the Hosa or Paul Scupa or Cam Underwood or Miami Flow or any of these different angles that people are going to and getting different flavors. All we're saying is let's take the time to get this crap right. We're not saying fire everybody, blow it up, bring me in someone new. It's not just about that. Let's sit down and make sure we're getting this correct. Because we don't want to be doing this again in another 4 to 5 years. We don't want to do this again in another 9 to 10 years. All right. We need to take the time to see and let's discuss who and what we want to be, Mark. Do we want to be a program that's chasing the coastal? Do we want to be a program that's chasing national championships? Do we want to be a program that's on the elite top 3 to top 5 of college football? Or do we want to be a serviceable program that can field a solid team that goes out there and wins 8 to 9 games, every couple of years wins the coastal, maybe, maybe not. And we're out there just doing things right. Hey, we're going out there and playing solid ball. We get things together. We may not win natties. We're not Bama. We're not Clemson. We're not Georgia. But we're out there. We look good. It's something to be proud of. They could run out of the smoke at a solidly filled stadium. Okay. And we just go with it. I don't want to be the latter. I believe somewhere in the truth is a top 10 program year in and year out. Top 5 would be pretty tough early on. I'm not expecting us to win the Natty next year. That's unfair to believe that. Okay. That we could just hop into the national conversation next year. Unfair and unrealistic. What I'm saying is get a team. Let's work on being top 15 to top 10 right now. Okay. Let's work on and let's get someone in here that's going to teach these young men the basics from the ground up. Let's get an athletic director in here that's going to go out and shake hands in this community and rebuild the relationship from the University of Miami to this community. Let's start there. If you got to spend a year or two at that level, that's fine. Okay. Mark, it would be amazing to turn on a Miami Hurricanes football game, a basketball game, and the football players are in the stands because they're here to support the basketball team. Them and their families, because we want to have a nice product on national TV because we're playing Duke and a lot of people don't come to this game. Guess what? The football players, the football coaches, and the football families are going to be here to support you all. Miami volleyball, Miami baseball. We're all going to come here and watch and be there to watch the basketball game together. And ESPN is going to pan the camera. Whoa, is that Cam Harris? Is that Jalen Knighton? Wow, okay. Miami's really pushing this you family thing, and we're all here trying to support each other. Do the same thing for baseball. Do the same thing for soccer, whatever. Build that rapport from the ground up and how we want to get this done as a program. That's all I'm saying. In my opinion, let's start from the ground, but let's have a plan as to how we're going to execute this thing. And let's start from foundation, from there up. Because promise you, this athletic department does need to blow up, but these board of trustees and they want money, Mark. They want money, but they want to be taught how to do it because they don't know. Miami's never known. Okay, they have one in spite. So we need a football guy for football players. But we also need an athletic director that is a man of the people and that can come in and speak that language, look people in the eye, shake hands, and do business the old school way. Not over social media, not over Zoom, not take pictures and things like that. Who's going to come and shake hands? And another reason why I'm saying I would love Alonzo Highsmith is Mark. He spent the last 2 weeks doing that. Do you know where he was? Okay. This man was at the game the last 2 weeks, tailgating with the fans, Mark. Shaking hands, taking pictures, talking to people, asking about their ideas, telling him some of their fans. Okay. Letting them know this is what I would like to do. I would love to be an athletic director here, and I want to get it done. Help me get it done. There's my soliloquy for the day.
So getting back to making sure that everyone's aligned. Pardon me?
I think your mic is out because I'm hearing the audio from your computer, not from you.
Huh. That's crazy. It did shut down. Can you hear me now?
Yep, go ahead.
You know?
There you go.
Shut down on me there. Okay, so I just want to take us back to getting that power structure and that organization in place. So here's my thought. You talked about the administration, the athletic director, and then the hiring of a new football coach. So what needs to happen is exactly what you're talking about. First and foremost, to understand what is the mission, what do we want the expectations to be, what is either realistic or what is important to us. And this isn't going to be stated publicly. No program's going to come out publicly and say, you know what, we're good with winning 7 or 8 games a year because we just want the ACC TV contract and we just want to go to bowl games and make that money, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to talk about championships, blah, blah, blah. But within that inner circle, heart to heart, truth be told, who are we? What do we want to be? What are we willing to sacrifice? What are we willing to do? What kind of effort to be elite, to be a championship contender year in, year out? What does Clemson do? What does Ohio State do? What do these programs do? What are they committed to do? How are they doing it? So if you can align all of them, because I've even heard athletic directors specifically in the Pac-12, knowing that maybe they didn't have the support of the administration or the resources, the finances, and knowing that the Pac-12 is strong in other sports, swimming, track and field events, Olympic sports, and knowing that that's more of an easier path to being dominant in non-revenue sports, and that the football lift is too heavy, that they will even emphasize and talk about, well, we're a full sports program. We don't have an emphasis in any one direction. We're looking for a well-rounded sports department. So I think it's crucial that the administration is truthful with itself, so then they can be truthful with hiring an athletic director, say this is who we are and what we aim to be. And if that is to be a elite football program, then somebody asked the question here about hiring a head coach, and who you hire first as the athletic director that's going to get you, because that athletic director has a lot of responsibilities, but one that we're talking about right here is making the right hire of a head coach. I think the simple method there would be to go through every school in the country, look at their athletic directors and say, what hires have they made? What's their track record in hiring football coaches?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that is something super easy.
No.
I don't think it's also the hardest thing in the world. I guess the biggest thing you have to think about is, can we afford this coach and the funding? Yeah. But at a place like Miami, where you got people paying $58,000 a year to come here, dude, you got money, okay? And that's the thing that pisses a lot of fans off is, please don't pretend like we don't have the money to do certain things. Please don't try to say that since we did renovations to the locker room, to the dorms, and since we did renovations to the School of Music, that we actually don't have money to fund a pretty good football program. And I'll say this, for people who want to say that we are impatient and want to say that it makes them embarrassed to be a Miami Hurricanes fan because of the way that we're acting. We're not overreacting. We're continuously holding this program to the standard in which that they tell us they are about. You come on and speak about being a national championship program, but field people and teams and staffs like this, come on. And the thing about it is, Mark, the crazy part right now is people think that Coach Diaz, he can't win. If he goes for the touchdown and they catch an interception and they say, why didn't you just line it up and go for the field goal? They complain and get mad about that. If he goes for the field goal and he misses it, they complain that he misses it. If they kick the field goal, they make the field goal. They score it, they win the game. And they go, well, we didn't win by enough. All we're saying is, man, we don't want to blow everybody out by 60. That's not what we're saying. It's just how in the world are we seeing our older players regress? The younger players who you continuously want to hold off the football field come on and look better than the older guys. But you don't want to play them because you want to buy time and say that they need to learn your system and develop it. Okay? It feels as though this team is not going out and playing for you hard and fired up and excited to be on that football field. It feels like they're just there. Okay? They're going through the motions and they're, I may come up and make this tackle, I may not. Okay. The scary thing is we spend so much time waiting on things and just giving people time to build something just because is nowhere what college football is anymore. That's not how you do it. Because Mark, how many more careers are we going to waste? How many more recruiting classes are we going to just throw to the wayside and the creme de la creme doesn't come here and it's filled with only a couple 4 stars and everyone else is 3 stars who are still buying into the Miami Hurricanes hype because they love the U, the rings, and the turnover chain. But the elite ones are going to Georgia, Florida, or Bama because they want to actually love Miami. They grew up Miami fans, but we're not fielding a team that's going to help them change their families' lives and go to the National Football League and be good enough to play at that level. Okay, because newsflash, just because you run a 4.3 or 4.4 doesn't mean you're going to the NFL. And if you do, you're going to go as an undrafted free agent or 6th, 7th rounder, and you're going to be out the league in a couple of years. If you do not have the teaching to get it done properly. I've used this analogy before, and I used it on my show last night. When a principal comes in, Mark, to the classroom, right? I've never once seen a principal come into that classroom and blame the students for not passing tests. I haven't. I've never seen it. I've never seen them walk in and just, hey, row 1, 1, 2, row 3, row 4. You all are going to be suspended if you don't pass your next test. Whoa. What do you mean? No, you're not passing your tests. You're not doing well. You're not passing your midterms. You're on track to not pass your finals. We need you to go ahead and transfer. Pick another school. Never once heard it in my life, Mark. You know who they go and talk to? The instructor, the teacher. What's going on? Now, if push comes to shove, okay, and you find out that, hey, I have a couple of students in here who are not getting things together, who are distracting a lot of my other students and not allowing me to teach properly and not allowing me to come and convey the message because they want to take over the classroom, that's when it would be different. But Mark, even then, they don't go to the student, they go to the parent. But for some unapparent reason, this fan base decides that we need to be attacking players and going after players instead of talking to the athletic director and talking to the staff and getting and looking in a different direction of leadership. That's what I will continue to say. That's where my argument and where my direction is. Okay. That's where my direction is. And some people could call me overreactionary, could call me emotional. That's fine. That's okay. I just want to get this right. I want to see it done right because there are plenty of young men who bought in, who love this, whose parents looked these staff members in the eyes and trusted them with their young man. And for you to say that we should just, well, Give it a couple years, see what happens. And that's another young man. And then next year, it's another group of young men. And then the year after that, it's another group of young men that we continue to waste their futures until we give him 4 to 5 years to figure it out. That is not the way of doing things. Okay? That is not the way of doing things. We don't need to continue to do this. Again, when it comes to Coach Diaz, I truly believe if we were to go to a different program, and whether he goes on to be a linebackers coach, a DC, somewhere else, goes in, looks at the way he's doing some things, changes the way he's doing some things, has a different leadership, like a different head coach, a different AD, people who aren't going to take some of those things. I don't know if he'll end up being able to go into the Nick Saban School of Teaching at Alabama. Maybe he goes to Ohio State as an outside linebackers coach. Maybe he goes to Georgia as their inside linebackers coach. Maybe he goes to Vandy. I don't know. But somewhere else, he can grow. He can learn. And I truly believe somewhere down the line, Coach Diaz will get another opportunity as a head coach, and he'll be much better. I just think right now it's too early in his career to have a job like this with the pressure of the University of Miami, with the pressure and the expectation of being the head man at Miami when he's still really young in his head coaching tenure at Miami. That's all I'm saying. If he was at Temple right now growing, if he was DC at Cincinnati, if he was DC at Texas A&M, things of that nature, being able to go and grow. That's all I'm saying. Just grow. Okay? Just grow. And I think we need to go in an experienced coach direction. We need to go in a different direction at the athletic department area. And I believe we need to go there first. Instead of letting go of Coach Diaz, let's go ahead and cut the head off at the top. Okay. And the reason why I don't go above him and go to the president is because our president, Julio Franks, has let it be known bluntly. I'm not a sports guy. I don't get in the way of our athletic director. He controls athletics. And some people were mad about that. In my opinion, if I'm AD, that's beautiful because guess what? I don't have to go to him to sign off on much. Okay. He literally gives me, you are number one in that direction. I'm focusing on the medical and the business communication school. You got all athletics. So it would be my job and his job to get it right. I think let's go in that direction first. Because if you let go of Coach Diaz, who's down, who's here, and the AD is here, you cut this and everyone under him, have them go in a different direction. Okay. Who's going to be a part of the hiring process? The person that's hired the last couple of coaches that haven't worked out. So we need to start here. Okay. We need to go in a different direction at the athletic director department. And then once we go from there, bring in someone who can get it done right, who has a vision, who has a plan, who not only can talk that talk, but really knows how to get it done. That's where we need to go. Really knows how to get it done, man. And, I don't want to keep beating this horse, Mark, because I feel like, but I do, and I need to, Mark. I have to. Because as much as people try to make it seem like we don't have a voice, us in the media, us as fans, we don't have a voice. Yes, you do. You have a voice, and we all need to be on one direction. A change at athletic director and a change at head coach. Not just a change for change's sake. We need to be able to do interviews and make sure that this person knows how to get it done at this level. We need to start that with Alonzo Highsmith to the University. That's it.
And like we talked about a few weeks ago, there are certainly head coaches out there who have succeeded who were not previously a head coach. So those hires have happened. I don't know in this situation, considering what the history's been going on 20 years, that I would feel confident doing that here, though. I would like to see a head coach hired who's had success previously, because every other coach, as I mentioned here a few weeks ago, every coach since Butch Davis, none of them have had success before Miami, at Miami, or after Miami. So there would be a level of confidence, I think, from the fan base and from everyone involved if that person had a track record of winning somewhere, that they had proven it somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, hey, we hear, like I said, my guy Mario Cristobal just lost to Stanford on Saturday. So, but guess what? That's his second time as a head coach at FIU, now at Oregon. He's having his lumps and he's growing somewhere. Now, when he comes to take the job at Miami, he understands what led to that. Okay. He understood what I did that week and the lack of preparation. And maybe we didn't have the right end. Maybe we should have woke up a little earlier that day. Things of that nature. Okay. Because guess what? What I expect from a head coach here is I'm not saying that they have to win every game, Mark. I'm not saying we got to go 66-0 over the next 6 years. We're gonna have the occasional. We're not there yet as a program. You're gonna have your occasional loss to a pretty solid Virginia Tech team. You're gonna have your occasional loss to maybe Tallahassee somewhere down the line here, because they're gonna get things in order here soon. And what we don't want is for them to get things in order, for Florida to pull away even further than they have with everyone else in the state, and then Miami continues to drop into the conversation of, will they have change in lanes? That's all I'm saying here. It's going to be plenty of interviews and plenty of opportunities, and all I'm saying is let's make sure we get it right. I think the right answer right now at AD is Alonzo Heisman, because he has a plan. He's spoken about this plan plenty of times. He's done a lot of things to get places right. I understand you said the Cleveland Browns. The Browns sucked. Okay, sure. What about the Packers? Because he was the one that helped build that Super Bowl team that won in 2010. So, like I said, we're going to keep bamming that. Keep bamming the drum. We'll keep speaking about it and keep pushing this, because that narrative is very, very important. And we can do our job here. We can do our job here on media, here on your amazing platform, Mark, on social media. But if we come as one and have a common goal set in place, that's when I believe we'll see change. Until we continue, until we get the fans out who are like, just give them time. Stop being impatient. Grow up. Until we get people like that out, until we get the people out who are, man, it's the players. Like, Derek King sucks. Bubba Bolden sucks. And you may have that opinion. That's fine. But until we get those kind of people to understand their voice and to understand we got to have at least, we'll never get 100%, 95, 92, 90, somewhere in there. I think that's possible. We get that kind of focus. We want this change. And the first one on the check mark needs to be going in a different direction at athletic director.
Appreciate everybody being here. Miami Hurricanes Talk here every Tuesday. So please join us each and every week. We need to be moving along here and wrap it up. But want to recognize, of course, and acknowledge this Super Chat contribution that we appreciate so much from Wendell. And previously, I had posted on the screen from Corey. Thank you so much for the question and the Super Chat. And also, Anthony, thank you for the super sticker that he posted. So Wendell says here, looks like Urban Meyer is a dead man walking in Jacksonville. Kane should get ahead of Florida State and USC now and position themselves accordingly.
Hey, you never know. You never know. I don't know if I would like to touch that, but I would love to interview him. I would love to interview him. And I think Miami would be blown away at what elite programs bring to the table and what they would do. Not rolling out the red carpet and making it fancy for them and taking them to a good dinner. That's all well and dandy. But he's interviewed for the Texas and the USC job with him over the last couple of years. And I'm going to tell you this. If they were able to sit down and talk football with him, I believe this administration, especially if our current AD is there, would be mind blown at what it honestly takes to be good or great in college football. Because the University of Georgia was completely mind blown when they interviewed Kirby Smart, and they thought they were putting in enough and investing enough when they had Coach Mark right there. And he came in and said, if you all ever want to beat those people that way of us at Alabama, there's plenty of stuff. You better start ponying up the money, and you better start focusing on getting things done here if we ever want to be on the same part as them. Because what you have right now ain't good enough. Mark, it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you all so very much. God bless you, Mark, for allowing me to be on here. It's such a pleasure and an honor every week to sit before you and speak about my Canes. To my Canes fans out there and to the haters out there, I still love you also. You all know I'm all about that. I love the Miami Hurricanes. I just want us to get things done in a different direction. Let's get better, okay? Don't go against me. Don't think that, forget this guy. We hate the big guy with the long hair. We hate him. No. Listen to what I'm saying. You may not like how I say it, but listen to what I'm saying, because what I'm giving you here is an opportunity for us to show how powerful the people are. It's our job to get changes done here at the University of Miami and voice our opinion. But we also do need to support our young men who are out there on that football field. So let's go to games, but let's voice our opinion on social media and any media outlet we have. God bless. And as always, go Canes.
Keep it locked in here, everyone. 7 o'clock Wednesday night here. We've got Nebraska tonight and Iowa Penn State live preview on the main channel. See you then.